Don't you know that my baby ride? Don't you know that my baby ride? Don't you know that my baby ride? 'Cause love is the devil, but it won't get me.
You're in New York City and you're a blues musician. And when did you discover the blues?
I do remember going through record bins and finding Hound Dog Taylor records and Lightning Hopkins records in the bargain bins. So I've always listened to the blues.
Right. Now, did you train as a musician when you were growing up? Was that your aptitude?
I mean, I took lessons on piano and I took guitar lessons, but I didn't really get serious actually until college, in college I started to get serious about playing guitar.
Did you study music? Is that what you practiced when you were in college?
I did a liberal arts degree in undergrad and just played music on the side.
How did you get connected with Melissa Tong, the violinist in your piece?
So Melissa was actually giving piano and violin lessons to my son. And I could tell how good she was, and I knew some of the things that she was doing. I mean, Melissa's capable of doing any kind of music. And I don't know where I got the idea, but I know that in the 20s and 30s there were a lot of string bands in the South. And I thought it might be interesting to bring a violin into the hill country sound. I hadn't heard any hill country music with a violin or fiddle. And so I asked her if she'd do it. And she said yes, although she was a little skeptical of how it was going to work. And we went in and we played a couple songs. We both started laughing because it sounded so good. And that's how it was born.
This is the first blues album you recorded, is that right?
Well, yes and no. About 6 years ago, before I'd gotten Melissa involved, I went down and recorded a CD with the musicians in the hill country. We're calling this our debut album because it's the first one that we've really done. We've mastered and we've made it available for sale.
Who is the Kimbrough family and where are they?
Well, two of the granddaddies of the hill country sound are R.L. Burnside and Junior Kimbrough. They both have offspring who are still playing the music, and they're fantastic. Kenny Kimbrough plays drums on about half the tracks on that album, and David Kimbrough plays guitar on some of the tracks on that album, about half the tracks. Burnsides and the Kimbroughs are kind of it in the hill country.
Where did this music originate?
Most of the blues came over from Africa and then was indigenous into the South, and Mississippi in particular. And you got different strains of the blues. You got the Delta style and the Delta, and then you got this hill country and the hill country. There's a whole other kind of style, the Piedmont from the Carolinas. People make the music the way they want to. I don't think they've got borders.
You started out with the Chicago blues and then went to the North Mississippi blues. Tell me again what that means for those of us who like blues music but don't really know all the parts of it.
What most people think of as the blues is usually Chicago style because they've heard songs by Muddy Waters. And, well, B.B. King isn't quite Chicago style, but that's the kind of thing that people think of. It's electric, and it's got usually 12 bars of shuffle rhythms, and it's great stuff. But the hill country is a little different in that it's much more focused on the rhythm. They'll get a rhythm going, and sometimes they'll just stay on one chord. Frequently, you'll just stay on one chord. And when you're listening to it, you'll get about, a minute into the song, and you'll be thinking, well, gracious, aren't they ever going to change chords? And then you get another 2 or 3 minutes into the song, and you start thinking, wow, this is pretty great. And then, if it works, you get 5 or 7 minutes into the song, and you're rolling around in the mud with the spirit in you. That's the way it affected me.
I read that you played a cigar box guitar. What is that?
Well, a lot of blues musicians didn't have guitars, and they weren't able to order one from Sears and Roebuck because there wasn't a whole lot of extra cash around. And people started making guitars in one form or another. You could nail a string to the wall and make a nice sound out of it with a knife. You could slide along the string. And somebody, I don't know who, somewhere along the line realized that you could use a cigar box, literally, a cigar box, put a pole on the end of it, and run strings, and it would look like a miniature guitar with the body being the cigar box. And you can get some great sounds out of those things. We used it on Falling.
How often are you able to get down to Mississippi? Do you make it down to the Clarksville Blues Festival down there?
Yeah, we come down to the Juke Joint Festival in Clarksdale every April. We've done that for the last 5 or 6 years, I guess, now. And then we'll make at least one more trip down, sometimes twice in a year. We've played at, we went to Clarksdale, and we played in Oxford. We went down to Po Monkeys in Marigold. And we have a shot, actually, at playing at the Helena Festival in Helena, Arkansas in October. We're looking forward to that.
When's the next time you're going to be in Mississippi? Y'all going to play any places where people can go hear you in the next few months?
We don't have anything booked right now. I'm going to try to get us into the King Biscuit Festival in October. If we do get into that, I'll try to book some shows in Oxford and Clarksdale around the same time. We do keep a calendar on our website, which is porkchopwillie.com.
Where'd the expression Pork Chop Willie come from? Is that out of your imagination, or does it have some provenance that we ought to know about?
You know, I've only told this story in public once, so I guess this is going to be sort of the official outing of this story. So I was playing in a Chicago-style blues band with a bunch of other fellows, and they came up with the dreadful idea that we should all take on blues nicknames. And so I didn't know what to come up with, and I knew that some of the greats in music had nicknamed themselves T-Bone. And I decided that I wasn't particularly great, so I would nickname myself Pork Chop instead.
So it came out of your humility then?
I guess it did, or maybe just reality.
The proceeds from the album will go to support North Mississippi blues musicians. Am I correct about that?
Yeah, I mean, I want to do what I can for the hill country music. I mean, it's not that they need me. They're doing fine, but it seems to me they should have a wider reach. I don't understand why more people aren't as enthralled with the hill country sound as I am.
What's your favorite song on the album?
You know, I've thought about that, actually. And it changes from day to day. I really like Ain't Nobody Gonna Save My Soul, Lonesome Poor. I think our version of Snake Drive, it's one of the ones that I didn't write, is terrific. I don't know, it changes from day to day.